is Speaking with Gravity, and I am Curvin.
I'm D.
I'm Ty.
And we're the host for a podcast that speaks on mental health in our community and how everything affects everything. With every episode, the goal is to have a conversation that will make you think, make you feel, make you do what is best for you. I'm a therapist, but this isn't therapy, it's a podcast. And we have a disclaimer.
While we serve as mental health professionals, the information and content being discussed during our podcast is not intended to be utilized or substituted as therapy. The purpose of the broadcasting is to share our personal perspectives through the open dialogue about various content based on our own personal, educational, and professional experiences.
We're back for this second episode for this third season. Overall, it's episode 19. And as we introduced the last time, we got something we call Twitter discussions to kind of get us going and have a little open dialogue, have a little bit of fun for a few minutes or so. So, Twitter discussion for today. And we're just going to, and with these discussions, we're just going to speak on it. We throw it out there and then we just give our response. And I saw where somebody tweeted, "You should never be aware of your therapist's political leanings. Therapy doesn't require this." What say y'all? Did I let y'all go first last time, or I go first last time? I think y'all should go first on this one. D.
Again, back to that awkward moment that we mentioned in episode 1.
What is political leanings to you when you think of that?
I don't know.
When
As a therapist, I mean,
when I saw it, so I actually saw somebody's response to it.
Okay.
And how they interpreted it, and I understood what he was saying. His was more like political, like what you adhere to outside of the office. You know, obviously political, whether you Democratic or Republican, Independent, whatever. But also other stuff, you know, whatever your other beliefs. I don't know, abortion, stuff like that.
if it's not relevant to the case, the individual that you're working with, I don't think there should be any discussion, especially when it's coming down to personal values, beliefs, and things of that nature. If you're not using it to be transparent to overall assist the individual with working toward whatever goal that you guys are working toward, I don't see the need for this to be brought up in discussion.
Okay, what you think?
I'm with Ty. I don't really see the relevance of discussing political leanings.
I'm with y'all on this one. That person that he actually reposted it. A therapist had said this part that I just gave, but
I disagree.
another person, this is what he said. He was like, I'm a gay social worker, something else. He said, and he felt like he needed to know what their thoughts was because I guess it could be detrimental to him. I don't know. I don't see how it could be detrimental.
When I think about it, when I stop and think about it, a little bit it can be because part of us being a therapist is knowing our own biases, and if those biases would in any way hinder us from, providing adequate service to the client. So I don't think that it should never come up in a session, but if I have, I've seen where therapists are highlighting themselves as religious therapists and other capacities of that. I guess because of letting the client know their values of that practice, and so not saying that I'm going to impose it on you, but that is my belief. So I could kind of see it going dual way. To me, it's not enough context there to really understand that statement. I think that you should never implies that it's all or nothing deal, and that's not the case. Because if I myself am strongly against something, and I'm truly passionate about it, or it's just something that I just don't deal with. Like we had a social worker come to school with the one time, and she was like she worked with prisoners who had sexually assaulted, and these were kind of level 3, so it was more aggressive towards children. And she was saying how she had to listen to them as they reiterated these stories, and sometimes they didn't display any level of remorse. And she was saying that it's not an easy job, so knowing how to work within your parameters. So I feel like if you're not a person, or you have a certain thought against something, it may be important that you communicate that to your client, and allow them to decide if they would like to continue that perspective. But it's
heavy, man.
It is heavy. You
That's
know what I'm
heavy.
saying? It can go either way. So
Yeah.
I think it's a statement. I think it's a bold statement that really requires more dialogue.
Yeah, that's heavy. Like I can see it both ways, but I would lean more towards you don't need to know everything.
No.
I don't like dogs being on my couch, but that's not gonna create a bias against you. That's just what you do, and you might feel like, dang, he don't like dogs, and he don't want them in the house. And I ain't saying I ain't want them in the house. I just don't want them on my couch. But that could create a disconnect just because I said that. But then when you talk about that's heavy. I definitely wouldn't agree, or even I can't do that one.
Exactly. So
I
that's what I'm
can't-
saying.
And then, but even from that person's standpoint, that individual who is in jail or in that program, they realize they did something, but they gotta open up themselves and become vulnerable to somebody that they know don't agree with what they did.
Right.
And we're asking them to do that. We pretty much telling them now, we don't agree with this. We don't agree with what you're doing. And they got to be vulnerable to us. That's heavy on both ends. I don't think that I could do that job. That's one that I would steer away from. That would be very, very hard for me. So that was a quick one, but it was a good one. But QD of the hour. This is another version of Fun Facts where this is info that you can give, in just casual discussion. Info that you can give to your friends, your family, your colleagues, your coworkers, your church members. QD of the hour, quotable data. What you got for me, Ty?
So the World Health Organization, also known as WHO, has declared a global mental health crisis. It projects that by 2030, lifestyle and stress-related illness will surpass communicable diseases.
It's 9 years. In 9 years. Lifestyle and stress-related illnesses will surpass. I can see it happening. People get stressed over cyberbullying. That's happening. Just trying to create a lifestyle that you're seeing portrayed in the media, and the pressures that comes along with that. Nobody wants to work for nobody no more. Everybody want to be an entrepreneur. I can see that. All right, so based off of that, lifestyles and stress-related illnesses, that's a segue into what we're going to be talking about today.
Taking care of your mental health can mean seeking treatment or simply taking steps to improve your emotional, mental, or social health. Placing an emphasis on positive strategies can boost emotional, mental, or social wellness and can be beneficial to you and those around you. By managing your state of mind, you can keep anxiety and depression away.
So today we're going to talk about optimizing your mental health, ways to get the best version of you from a day-to-day basis. This is something that you do where you're proactive, You can do these things should you get caught up into a situation of anxiety, depression, so on and so forth. But really, this is just being proactive. Things that I can do from day to day to try to, again, get the best version of me. One of the things that I've seen time and time again is being outside, being in nature, being in green spaces. Studies have shown where it'll impact you in a positive manner if you just go take a walk, if you do an activity outside. We have what we call light therapy, where people actually buy light to try to get the similar light as the sunlight is, which affects your brain in some capacity that makes you feel better. So just being outside when it's like it is on today, real bright, being out there just does something different to you. You can also take the opportunity to exercise while you're out there. But even if you didn't exercise, of course we know exercise helps with our mind and our body. But even if you didn't exercise, just being outside itself is beneficial to you. So that's one of the ways that you can improve your mental health.
I think that's a great family-oriented activity, too. So if you know at times, I mean, I don't have anybody to watch the kids while I go outside, whether that's to take a walk or it's me walking around my home. If I don't want to leave my children unattended, let's all go outside, you guys. And then these are things that you're passing down, believe it or not, to your children. And then when they're asking, it kind of goes a little beyond mommy or dad just being outside or us just being outside playing, but the benefits associated with us coming outside. So that's one way you can incorporate, having others around you, if not family, even friends who may be experiencing similar lifestyle and stress-related stressors,
Which is then going to go into support, but okay. Yeah, I like that. What's next? What else can they do?
I'm gonna pass this on the top of that's our arena.
Oh, meditation. So meditation is another great tool to use to keep stress at bay. Meditation can help you connect with your body and the universe around you. Meditation helps you to release all negative energy and negative thoughts that accumulate around you. And that's just some information gathered by Curvin. I think it's simply stated. Meditation that looks different for everybody. I think oftentimes when we think of meditation is the image of someone sitting in a Indian style. That pose is also known as easy pose for those in the yoga world, and that's just the English language. But it doesn't have to look like that. But there are benefits when you are seated in that posture while breathing. But yeah, I mean, we all can benefit from meditation. Research has shown not only does it help to reduce stress, headaches, studies have been done to where individuals who've experienced symptoms related to anxiety and depression after incorporating meditation, whether it's 5 minutes a day or whether it's 20 minutes a day, they've noticed a decrease in those symptoms. Some individuals have reported, there was a study done at a university, individuals who often indicated that they had headaches by incorporating meditation. They noticed a decrease. They were more manageable over time. Again, meditation, it just kind of helps tune out mental chatter in a sense. The practice itself is just simply an exercise to sustain concentration while calming the physical body. It is shown that meditation, I guess when our stress hormones are activated, I think it's the norepinephrine hormones. Once they're activated by or triggered by stress, that can increase blood pressure, heart rate. But meditation has shown, or studies have shown that as you incorporate meditation, it can calm the body down, simply put. And it allows some time and space before one is to react to a situation that caused those external and or internal stressors in the first place. Yeah, how do you do it? You can find
I was gonna ask a question about how you do it. Do you consider, like, in another episode when we was at the barbershop, was the guy was saying, Nafi, he was saying he considered prayer like meditation. Would that be considered under the realm of meditation, like just praying and focusing on your prayer, or other thing, in the morning times, I have like a time where I write. I got what they call I think it's called a gratitude journal.
Okay.
But it asks me in questions, what's my goal for the day? What am I thankful for? Would that be considered like under that meditation realm because I'm doing that?
Excuse me. It can, yeah. this is where you get creative. You know, the first thing is you want to find just a quiet, comfortable place, area in your home if you want to go outside. And if for you, you meditating on those things that you write down in your daily gratitude journal every morning, and then just being repeating those things over and over and over as you set your possible intention for the day, while also incorporating, I believe, breathing techniques. That's where the mind and body connection. So versus again to try to tune out that mental chatter. So if you're just sitting somewhere comfortably, if you want to lie down, whatever feels comfortable for you in that moment, do so. If you want to play music, if you want to focus again on those words that you may have written out, also known as mantras or affirmations, to focus on when you notice that your mind is engaging in other thoughts. The goal is not to, judge yourself or really dig deep into the thoughts that you're having. Acknowledge them and let them surpass and go back to whatever you set your intention on for those 5 minutes or 20 minutes as you're practicing this meditative state, to calm, again, the body down, to get in tune with self. But the goal is not really how long you can do it, but being consistent with it. And then eventually the duration will pick up. But if you can incorporate this 5 minutes a day and slowly incorporate, and again, this can be family oriented, teaching our kids, friends around us. So there are, again, different ways to meditate. But that's just something simple. If you can't come up with any words, color, images to focus on as you're trying to use that to get back centered and present in the moment in time, simply count your exhalations, starting from 10, 9, 8. And as you notice that you may lose concentration, meaning you're engaging in potential thoughts, or you hit a dog barking outside as you're trying to meditate, or your kid may knock on the door, go back to that last number. If you can't remember that number, start back over. And again, you're just building a routine.
I like how you said the goal is not how long, but being consistent. And that is hard. Even though I do that, there's some mornings I skip. And it's like you rushing, or you rather do something else, and you really have to focus on doing that every day, or as much as possible, because it ain't easy all the time, putting these things into place. What else? What you got, D?
Music therapy. So listening to music, making music, singing songs, dance.
TikTok.
Which I don't have yet.
Really? Neurologist Oliver Sacks asserts that music can lift us out of depression when nothing else can. His works reveal us as music species who benefit immensely from the extraordinary healing power. And really, I do know this to be true. I know music therapy is really incorporated a lot with the geriatric population who may be experiencing dementia. Music therapy is a way of kind of connecting them a lot to some of their experiences. It kind of initiates their focus, and we have seen, and there is actually a video clip of a man who has severe dementia, but they start to play this song and he sings the song all the way through. It's really is beneficial, and I really like the thought of music therapy in its sense being beneficial to the meditation component. I like that you pointed that out too, because Ty sent me what's the song? The
artist is called Beautiful Chorus.
Yeah.
They had different ones. Be Here Now.
Yeah.
You had a few.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a playlist or something?
It is on Apple Music that
Why you sending me?
Ty actually sent it to me. So Ty, why
We got
you
you
send
next
it?
time.
But yeah, really just listening to those songs that Be Here Now was really powerful in terms of really getting me in a moment of meditation, like to really not get lost and consumed by things that had happened. And really, I wasn't even thinking about it because I guess I don't know if they're strategic in the sounds that are going behind it, the volumes that it causes you to focus on the now. And so really seeing and centering yourself, and I definitely can see kind of when I've just had those cloudy days, something that I incorporate and share with people, and it definitely has benefit me.
Oh, I like to hear that, to see what y'all talking about on that one.
Okay.
But on music therapy, I'm talking from a personal experience. I'm not kidding y'all. I really did this a couple of years back. I love music. Love
Me too.
R&B, love gospel, I love hip hop, I love it all. But I said, you know what, man? I'm only going to listen to either gospel, and this at this time, Lauren here had came out with a double disc, and she was just doing a guitar. I was like, I'm either going to listen to gospel or just positive music for 30 days. And I did it. And do y'all realize, like, my mindset was totally different. The way I responded to things were more positive. I had more hope connected to how I responded or how I perceived things. Now, I couldn't stay in that same vein. Again, I love music, so I like all different types. But if we look at it like, for me, if I was getting ready to compete in something, I got a certain playlist that I'm going to go to that's going to get me hyped, that's going to get me focused and centered on the task at hand. And we have to think about that just in our day-to-day life. I see a lot of people with their AirPods on and just listening to music all the time, but you have to be intentional about the music you're listening to.
That part.
If you're gonna listen to this particular type, you just know that you're gonna have feelings associated with that particular type of music. So it needs to at least be a balance at some point, so that you don't get so caught up into a particular one per se. But you had anything, Ty, you wanted to add to that?
Just echoing what you both are saying, I do believe that music therapy can just help lift and elevate one's mood, vibrational frequencies, however you want to refer to it. And just from a personal standpoint, listening to certain songs make me feel a certain type of way. So like you said, really having that balance and being intentional overall. Not only that the music we listen to, the conversations we're engaging in, the conversations or who we have around us, the things we're watching on TV. Being intentional about our own thoughts and the things we are saying as well. I do believe in the power of thoughts as well as the power of the tongue. What you think is kind of what you get, and what you speak is kind of what you get. So just being mindful of what it is that you're putting out into the universe, into the atmosphere, because it can come back full circle. Well, a lack of better words, what you put out is what you get. And it sounds so simple, but really applying it, what I put out. So if I'm putting out this is probably what I'm going to get in return. So let me be mindful and intentional about the things that I'm putting out as well as the things that I'm receiving. And that, I think that goes to, as far as us challenging ourselves and doing like check-ins. I think when we mentioned on the previous episode, that self-care part. I think we have this idea, and social media does a great job. I'm grateful that we are putting emphasis on individuals taking time out for self and understanding what self-care really looks like. But even in this aspect of applying self-care techniques, what am I listening to today? What things have I said to others today? Or what was said around me amongst a group of individuals that I may have been around? What type of music was I listening to this morning, or am listening to right now? What type of food am I putting in my body? So, yeah, going back, but to bring all of that back, I definitely do think that music therapy is a great benefit that just can help lift us. I think that's why music was created, really. Even before just the vocal part, just the instrumentals. I know in Eastern studies and traditions, just certain songs and music alone can help elevate and increase one's just vibrational frequencies and moods. So,
I'm gonna do like they do. I listen to Breakfast Club all the time.
Okay.
And when they do it, when they talk to an artist might say something, and DJ Envy will be like, "Okay, now break that down for the people who've never heard of this." So when you say Eastern studies and you mention like Western culture, can you break that down? Can you break it down? If you can't, I'm going to tell you what I think from my perspective when you say Eastern and Western, which I really think it boils down to culture.
Yeah.
But people, when they say Eastern studies, when you say Western...
I mean, just with us being here in the Western Hemisphere, and it's just us with this Western culture, understanding that this is a whole universe, a whole world, so... Other individuals who are in eastern parts of the world have different practices on how they address situations from an internal, external standpoint, just as well as we do here, whether it's through medication, whether it's through therapy, whether it's through going to see a physician, different alternative or similar ones to address situational circumstances or, eventful situations and things of that nature. But that's pretty much about all I can give you.
But that Mediterranean diet, that's considered Eastern or Western?
I would assume, but I don't know because I don't know. I didn't even know it was
I ain't no history person.
I don't know.
I don't know nothing about no geographics. But I have read up on it, and I vaguely know of it. But
I didn't even know there was a Mediterranean diet out there.
Like it's similar to keto, right?
I don't know exactly what it is, but it is one. I've seen it referred to. I hadn't did the research as to specifically.
Given the
what it
name,
was,
I
yeah.
would assume they probably take components of individuals who may be from the Mediterranean, which I think is still a part of the Eastern Hemisphere. We could be wrong now because this ain't geography class.
Yeah.
That may mean we need to go back and do
mute.
something. But
let's get
I would
back on,
assume, but I'm not sure.
I
am not sure.
We gotta get back on.
I ain't gonna get me.
Get back focused because we'll be out here telling y'all some lies.
I guess it's the importance of really understanding what other cultures, individuals from around the world, how they practice just healing tactics. What do they do that we normally do here in the West when we're facing from a mental health standpoint when we're experiencing stressors? But majority of the power of tapping in tune with self and just incorporating some of these things. So yeah.
And when you, I don't know if y'all ever heard of culturally competent. You looking at a culturally competent therapist, it doesn't mean that they know everything, but they are interested and they genuinely want to know, and they'll do the research to try to figure it out. They won't just stay in the blind and be like, no, we do things like this way over here. But going back to optimizing your mental health, we talked about getting outside, meditation, music therapy. But then there's the social comparison, which I think is big. I said social comparison. You could just say comparison. We could look at, sometimes it's just best to avoid it, not to compare yourself to somebody else's profile on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. Not to compare yourself to your friends. Sometimes we just have to watch out that we're not looking at somebody else's situation and we're presenting it as the ideal situation because we don't know what the backdrop is. Their story, from our view, is neatly packaged, but we don't see all the intricacies that go along with that. We don't. This might be TMI. Sorry to my wife if it is. But we got into a major argument just this week right here. But ain't nobody on social media seeing that.
Right.
We ain't take no picture of the argument. To my knowledge, she didn't put it out on social media, and I didn't put it out on social media. And we also came back after the argument and had a quote-unquote heated discussion and then a deep discussion, and then we got our kids involved in it. I mean, it was a whole process to that, but nobody's going to see that. And if I didn't have this podcast, you would have never heard of it. You just see us smiling in our group pictures. You're going to see us on our family outings or whatever, but we have real issues that we have to work through. And when you start comparing, you only comparing to the best of that person. You only comparing to what is being presented, what they want presented. I didn't want that argument presented. I don't care about it, at this point because we done got past it. But I didn't want to present it in that moment. And it was early this week because I had something to do that day, and it was bothering me all day that day until I got it. It was still bothering me a little bit after we went through it. But I won't, and I'm saying this because I'm aware that my feelings are enwrapped in my family. I care about how they feel about me. I want them to be happy. I want them to know that I love them, and so on and so forth. And that impacts me from day to day. I kind of got off, but even though it impacts me, I won't just give that to everybody. Everybody ain't gonna see that. They're just gonna see the part that I'm choosing to give. And we have to be careful not to compare ourselves to our friends and to what's out there on social media, because it'll have you, like when you did the QD, it'll have you stressed trying to create this lifestyle that you have seen from somebody else or somewhere else. So y'all want to add anything to that?
Just
That
the
social
importance of
capacity?
knowing self, and I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
that's an ongoing journey, but really taking the time out. I think this goes back again to episode 1 when we spoke briefly about just self-care, really tapping into what you know, or even if you don't know, what is it that I may need. But in order for me to figure that out, I may need to sit still, tune out the mental chatter, going back to the meditation, and figure out what am I going to need to help me elevate my mood or feel a little better along the way of decreasing any physical complaints that I may have because of the internal mental stresses that I now have going on in my body. Mind and body go hand in hand, really. So if I'm experiencing any physical illnesses, I can guarantee, I could be wrong, maybe by a few percentages, but 9 times out of 10, it's related to mental stress as well, and they go hand in hand. Yeah, that's it. But really understanding and learning out who you are, and knowing that individual who you may be comparing yourself to, and you may be unintentionally aware that you're comparing yourself to it. I don't know. But that's their journey. And your journey and your path is completely different. If you want to use it as motivation, oh, that person got there, I know I can too. Cool. But figuring out how you going to get to where you want to get without taking on any thoughts, about how X, Y, Z got to where they are, and comparing yourself and looking at yourself as if you may not be adequate enough, maybe less than. I'm not sure what thoughts come when you're comparing yourself, but don't compare yourself.
That adequate enough that's deep. That's deep. I ain't gonna dwell on that one. All right. Next up, after social comparison.
You got volunteers. So research shows that people who give their time to contribute positively to the lives of others tend to flourish. Living life from a we stance, not a me stance, helps us thrive. This really, I think, is just important in terms of. I think this kind of helps to reduce that social comparison when you volunteer, because it really allows you to see the life of others through a different perspective, and just being able to really extend a level of gratitude about what you have and what you're experiencing. So, being able to volunteer also is a way of, kind of taking you away from your own circumstance and focus. So it's in my opinion, a different type of meditation. It allows you to get outside. It allows you to do things and be present in that moment. You're going to get that exposure to different things, trying different things, meeting different people. And so, when you guys were talking about social comparison, I'm thinking about social comparison can be conscious or unconscious. And I think that that's kind of where people don't make that connection, but being able to kind of volunteer and surround yourself around people, who really you see are just trying to, they're just trying to be, you know what I'm saying, and trying to grow and elevate. So being able to give back and really pour into people, I think that's.
I like when you say living life from a we stance. You in essence create a network, a support network. When I introduce, I say in my introduction, mental health in our community. I'm talking about not only whatever community that I engage in, whether that's the black community, whether that's my church community, my local community of Greenwood. Like, I'm proud to be from here at this point. I mean, it is, when I say at this point, a major part of who I am is because of my experiences. And wherever you are, you're connected to that. Whether that's Greenwood, whether you grew up in Greenwood, or whether you grew up in Miami Gardens. I don't know what I would be like if I was from Miami Gardens, but I probably wouldn't be the same person, because I would have different experiences. So that we thing, man, the community, getting involved in your community and aligning yourself with people who have things that y'all like, y'all have stuff in common, similarities, and y'all know, man, we have these similarities, and we're also going through some of the same issues or have been through the same issues, and that can be helpful within itself. So volunteering will help you because you get back what you give out. It's just, to me, is another way of saying that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, for you guys, gratitude. Count your blessings. Studies show that practicing gratitude boosts mental health. It explains, happiness researcher Sanja, I don't know her last name, explains that heartfelt, intermittent, intentional practice is better than constant, passive, automated expressions of thankfulness. Meaning, if I had to interpret that, instead of just saying, "Oh man, yeah, I'm thankful. I'm good with everything where I'm at right now," but really being, I think we're saying it a lot, intentional. Really being intentional about practicing this. That was why I do a gratitude journal, because I'm trying to be intentional about it. Because you get caught up in, I have these goals in life, right? Ty said earlier, speak it into existence. I want to be one of the hottest mental health podcasts that's out there. I'm going to speak it into existence. We're going to be number one in America. But in getting to that goal, you'll lose focus on the people who started a podcast and quit and you still going. You'll lose sight of being able to meet with two other colleagues who see the vision, who want to be a part of a movement collectively together and willing to come in and just and do the work for it. You'll lose sight on that, trying to hurry up and be that number one podcast, trying to be this big thing, this goal, this vision, just trying to do it. But when you're intentional, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write this out, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to think about, man, I've been blessed. And in the comparison field, I can't look at those other podcasts that got thousands of followers and say, dang, I ain't there yet. Just keep grinding. But gratitude. If somebody was to come see me in therapy, they're gonna hear me say that more often than not at some point during our sessions about gratitude.
I think gratitude brings us or helps us become again more present in the moment in time, whether the things we're expressing gratitude about may be in the form of past tense, but it's just still reminding us of where we currently are, the good things that are going on in our life, despite, again, our responses to whatever external, internal stressors that are causing us to experience a heightened level of emotional, physical stress at that moment in time. But me personally doing gratitude work, not as often as I should, but the times that I have incorporated it, it really has helped. It brought me back again to the present moment in time, helped me get centered, and reminded me that everything ain't all bad. Like I'm presuming it to be at this moment in time, and because I have these things, I know that there's more to come, and I'm okay, and it doesn't have to be anything tangible. It can be intangible things too. So yeah, and the simple things. I'm grateful for breath, really understanding the science of breath, and the importance of breathing and breathing correctly. Physical mobility. I think you mentioned this earlier, just with the geriatric population and music therapy. Now working with individuals who fall under the geriatric population, not taking my physical mobility for granted anymore. Really taking care of the physical body that I have and the ability to do so in this moment in time. Whether it's just working out my physical body, working out my mental body, the brain exercise, building brain muscle. But just being grateful for those things alone. Then, building into family. Being grateful that I have the ability to choose. Some people's, unfortunately, privileges are restricted and they don't have the ability. Well, they may think that they don't have the ability to choose anymore because they've been conditioned to not do so, or those who are currently incarcerated. Just because there are physical shackles on them, there aren't the mental constraints. So still understanding what you have the capability to do in restricted environments at times, and then being grateful. So, yeah, I agree though.
You had anything? D?
I think y'all summed it up pretty good.
So, we just gave you guys 6 ways to improve your mental health, optimize and get the best out of yourself. However you want to say it. But these are 6 ways, and like Ty just said, there are times where you get away from it, but you just have to say, all right, let me get back to this. It's more than just 6 ways. I can probably name maybe 10, 12 more, maybe, in this city. But I definitely, if I went and did my little research, I could probably give you, more. But even though we know this, again, we have to go, when we get down or something happens to us, we have to think about it and be like, all right, let me get back to what I know can help me out and get me to where I need to be. And it doesn't happen overnight. You got to be consistent with this stuff. You got to start it over. You got to start over and then be consistent, and then you'll reap the benefits. It ain't gonna necessarily come in that exact moment. So
Practicing these things now too, when you're in a good mood, so when you start to notice that there's some imbalance within, or things just ain't feeling right, really trusting your gut, your intuition. I mean, science has proved that even our brain and our gut, like, they're linked. I'm not gonna break the terminology down. I'm still learning myself, but they're connected. So there's a reason why you have that gut feeling at times, really trusting your instinct, trusting your intuition. But yeah, I forget where I was going with it.
I just read that too, about your gut and your brain being connected, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but we always constantly learning on this side of the table. I don't know what y'all doing over there on that on y'all side, but all right, so we gave y'all ways to improve your mental health. We thank y'all. Thank everyone that has liked, shared, or supported the movement to increase mental health awareness in our community. If you have any show ideas you're interested in and would like to hear more about, send us a message on Facebook or Instagram. Again, Gravity Counseling Group has a BIPOC wellness group for men every 4th Monday. We talk about resilience, healthy relationships, emotional intelligence, so on and so forth. Subscribe to Speaking with Gravity on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll make it easy for you. Again, we're going to put it in the show notes. Also, thank you to Vision Winnie for the audio and visual production. We're able to just come in here, sit down, and just dialogue, and then he take care of all the other stuff, so we appreciate that for him. He is also on Instagram and I believe Facebook as well, so check him out for your audio and visual needs. And thank you again for taking the time to listen. You could be doing anything else right now, but you chose to listen to us, and we appreciate that. We are therapists, but this ain't therapy. It's a podcast.